Yo.
There you go.
Dude, you just missed the fucking stream. I just ended the stream. What a
Let's see.
pretty
I
nice
am
place.
proud to be first. Okay, so the thing you linked me that says, I am proud to have been the first governor to sign the anti-BDS legislation.
Yeah. Like, I looked up what anti-BDS is.
So
So, it's legislation
I mean,
to,
how is that abolishing the First Amendment?
yeah, like they're trying to push legislation that makes sure that citizens don't get First Amendment rights. And it's like, this is a First Amendment issue, like getting
Is
to,
your mic even on? Can't hear you.
what? You can't hear me. What? Can you hear me now? Bruh. Dude, dude,
What? What? What?
dude, hello? Hello?
Yeah,
Okay, you can hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So, yeah, like anti-BDS legislation, it's pretty much legislation to ban protests. So, like, you protesting a foreign government is protected under the First Amendment. Like, that's what the First Amendment is. So, like, having laws that prohibit you from exercising your First Amendment rights, that, like, if you're in favor of these laws, that is just you saying I want to abolish the First Amendment, because without, like, the First Amendment prohibits such laws explicitly from being a thing where you're saying you can't protest like in favor of this because I disagree with it. And it's like nobody here actually supports Hamas. Not a single person supports Hamas. Why would they? It's like Hamas doesn't treat Palestinians well. It's like people over here, like moderates, people here aren't hateful. Like we don't have the fucking radical Muslims from the Middle East and all that shit. Like they're hateful over there. America isn't fucking hateful, but yeah, like the people over here who are favoring Palestinians, like they specifically are in favor of Palestinian rights. Like they don't like Hamas. Nobody likes Hamas over here. And it's like, yeah, they're not even like trying to prop up a terrorist country. And on top of that, like the only justification I could see for a country to say, oh well, we're suspending your First Amendment rights on an issue would be if this was a time of war. And like this is over a war, except the United States is not part of this war. We haven't even like fucking announced that we are at war. Like we're not at war. This isn't a time of war for us. So there was absolutely no precedent imaginable other than suspending the First Amendment to, like, saying we can't protest for a cause, especially a peaceful cause. Like, we are against terrorism. We don't want civilians to be bombarded. Like, there's no precedent to say you can't say this or you could get like you could fucking legislative consequences or like legal consequences, face legal fucking consequences. I just said that 3 times. Yeah, I think I made my point. Right. Yeah, I went on a huge ramble
Okay.
there.
Okay. Well, even if anti-BDS infringes on the First Amendment, it doesn't mean you're anti-First Amendment because you could approve of it and then like not realize you're
How?
that it's against the First Amendment. Like if
How
someone
can
brought it
someone
up to
be that
them.
retarded though? Like I am I want to ban people from having the right to voice their opinion, but you just don't realize that that's anti-First Amendment. Like you'd have to not know what the First Amendment is to think that restricting people's freedom of speech isn't in violation of the First Amendment.
It 100% it's in violation of the First Amendment, but sometimes people don't immediately realize
I
what
swear,
the thing you're
like
passing.
times of war really rot people's fucking brains, dude. Like I never noticed this shit because I was like never paying attention to the media on anything. Like Ukraine didn't really do this. I mean, Democrats tried to censor a bunch of like Russian takes and all, but it was nowhere near that bad. Like imagine if just the Democrats started coming out like, motherfucker, if you fucking side with Putin, if you publicly come out, like not supporting Ukraine, we will fire you from your job. Or I mean, to be fair, yeah, that person did win the lawsuit, but the fact that this had to be a lawsuit, it's like, bro, what the fuck type of country are we in? Fucking North Korea or some shit? Like, wait, bro, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Uh, if if someone brings up to Nikki Haley, hey, do you realize what you're doing is again goes against the First Amendment? And
It's
if she
like,
says, yeah, it's like yes, I do realize it. Then it's like okay, then then she's against the First
she
Amendment. But if
shouldn't.
someone brings that up to her and she's like, oh, it's like, oh, I didn't really think about that. Yeah, I guess that would be against the
Yeah,
First Amendment.
but
It's
like
like okay,
it
so,
shouldn't even need to be brought up to her because she's a fucking like presidential candidate. So she, if anybody, should know what the law says. Especially she's been in politics probably her whole life. If she doesn't know what the First Amendment is, she's just a failed fucking candidate and probably a failed abortion too. It's like she fucking should know what the First Amendment says. And like if she can't equate this to being a First Amendment violation, like dude, I don't know how many times she must have been dropped on the head as a kid, but like it's fucking bad, dude. She should probably go to the hospital.
okay. My point is,
Dude, I'm
you need to
sorry,
be able to you need to be able to differentiate when people's intentions are evil versus stupid.
I
So I
think
guess
Nikki Haley is being deceptive. I like I just don't buy that she doesn't recognize that this is against the First Amendment because like these people and Ron DeSantis pretty much said the same thing. Like he's supporting this like sanctioning people, and it's like this person Ron DeSantis, all of a sudden he claims that okay, watch the video. Apparently he's saying that he's banning people from colleges if they support Palestinian human rights under the pretext of oh we have like we have laws against anti-Semitism in Florida, and it's like did Ron DeSantis I remember seeing pictures of like some protests, some people who were protesting in favor of Ron DeSantis against Disney. Like they were showing up at Disney just with a bunch of fucking Nazi swastikas and shit. And it's like, oh well, was that shit banned? Well, clearly, I don't know. How about with Trump with what was that Charlottesville? Like, did he want that banned? And it's like, I don't want that banned. I support the First Amendment in every fucking sense. But it's like these people were all over when it was with Charlottesville, whether it be Charlottesville or whether it be like Ron DeSantis, where his followers were legit like in support of him going to Disney, showing up with swastikas and all. Like he didn't condemn that. I think it's pretty clear that they're being selective about the. Oh well, that this would be free speech. I'm not gonna attack that free speech, but now that this issue is like about Israel, oh well, this isn't really free speech. I just don't see it here. It's like these people can't be that naive. It's like they're running for president. There's no way they're that naive.
okay, fair enough. But the foreign student thing, like I think that's fine because they're being foreign students, the First Amendment wouldn't apply to them because they're not
Yeah,
U.S. citizens.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Don't you have First Amendment rights? Like, regardless, I mean, I'm not too sure about that. I think you
No,
should,
you
but
don't.
whatever.
Like if you're not a citizen, because you have to any foreigner before they can become a U.S. citizen has to recite
Oh shit! Wait,
the
do I
Pledge
not
of
have
Allegiance.
First Amendment rights? I just realized. Wait, do I like not have First Amendment rights, and I just realized it?
No, you're a U.S. citizen, so
No, I was born in. I have a green card. I'm not a citizen though. I
you're not a citizen.
No, unfortunately, not yet. I hope to become a citizen so I can
Oh shit, you better get
fucking
on that.
so I can do nothing. They can vote at my vote. Dude, yeah, the chance of your vote mattering, aka like changing the outcome, your vote specifically changing the outcomes of an election, or like so much lower than your chances of winning the lottery because like it'd have to come to one vote. So like I know that's not a great way to see it, but like I just see things statistically, and it's like to be fair, that's really the only thing I'd gain as a citizen, other than like I don't know, would I gain healthcare? I don't even fucking know. But dude,
Okay, you
why did I
might.
go on this
Okay,
tangent? I don't know.
all right. Well, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you might actually not be entitled
Fuck. Well,
to
that
all the
sucks.
constitutional rights or something. I don't
Fuck,
know.
dude. Oh
How are
no.
you living here if you're not a U.S. citizen?
Oh, I'm on a green card. I've been living here since I was 6. At first, I was on a visa because, like, yeah, my mother's a school teacher over here. Like, she teaches French, so yeah. But dude, either way, like, with the immigrant stuff, it's like the immigrants of all people, like, likely to support Hamas. Like, if they, and I feel like maybe they're standing up for their own people's rights and their people being the civilians, but like to assume that people who would be smart enough to attend college overshores, especially from like a place like Palestine, which is like super poor and shit, to assume that people who would be smart enough to like get educated would also support terrorism. It's like I mean to be fair, there are a lot of like people in the United States who like unconditionally support everything Israel does, but they don't really know what the fuck Israel does. Everybody knows what Hamas does, but like well, why the fuck would they like? Even Hamas isn't like they probably treat Palestinians like even worse than Israel does somehow. So I mean, I don't see why you'd imagine any foreign exchange student would support Hamas. Like they would have had to be dropped as a kid multiple fucking.
Um,
Okay, who's this?
let's see.
Timothy
So have you
Tompkins.
seen people chanting "Glory to the martyrs"?
Martyrs? What the fuck is a martyr?
Um,
And no,
well, here I'll look at the definition so you can show you.
I should probably doing that. Whatever.
So a martyr is someone who kills people because of their religious beliefs.
Wait, what was the whole phrase? What about martyr?
Glory to the martyrs.
Glory to the. Who was chanting that?
Uh, that's what they're chanting on like college campuses. Uh,
Fucking students were chanting that?
Students, yeah. I don't, and there also, did you see there's like a projection onto the library that said "Glory to the Martyrs."
What?
They're saying martyrs instead of Hamas because if they say Hamas directly, then people are going to know that what they're talking about. So they say
Well,
martyr.
I mean, if you say that, I mean, to be fair, I'm fucking retarded. But yeah, retards aren't gonna know what the fuck that word means. But anyone who knows what that
Exactly.
word means, so you're gonna know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, did these people enter college and find out what cocaine is? I mean, Xanax probably because like, dude, how the fuck did their brains rot that much if they're in college? What were their grades?
Dude,
I wonder what their grades look like.
literally all of the brain rot in the American political sphere
Were they even
comes
bothering?
from those college campuses.
Did they even bother attending classes? Like, what the fuck were they doing in school? Like, were they even like attending their fucking classes at all? Why the fuck
So
did they bother going to
have you
school?
seen the meme where like they don't go to like their classes because they hold a protest and like it's like a get out of jail free because
Yeah,
if you're
we're
being an activist
protesting
and
class.
yeah.
I can't believe that shit. That really happened.
Yeah, have you seen the Family Guy joke where uh
No, I fucking
here
have not.
a Family Guy even made a joke about it.
Damn.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking for it. Oh, here it is. Here, I'll link it here. Here, so that's basically what I mean. In
Okay,
that clip.
let's see this shit. By the way, could I upload this on YouTube, like our fucking discussion and shit?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. You're recording, but not live, right?
Oh no, I'm not live anymore. My live stream was fucking stuttering and shit, and it was
Yeah.
And I figured it was time for me to go to bed. I forgot that was another reel. Whatever, dude. I'm not going to bed
On the
now.
transgender bathroom and the school president didn't overreact, so we want him fired.
Dude, let me read. Okay, what?
Hey, what's going on?
Someone wrote weird on the transgender bathroom and the school president didn't
The
overreact, so
transgender bathroom. Oh, fuck.
we want him fired.
Seems reasonable.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's Jordan Peterson. Well, back in the day, he actually looked really reasonable. Like Jordan Peterson, I remember when he was standing up to the like fucking like non-binary queer motherfucking like whatever bullshit they were making up. Who were like, we demand to be like have our pronouns respected and shit. And it was like, dude, shut the fuck up and go kill yourself, fucking please. But like, yeah, I don't even know why I'm mentioning that. Yeah, these people need to go kill themselves. Yeah, it's anyway. Let me keep watching.
I'm gonna yell "Viva la stool" like a young white drunkard.
And last week, a professor told his class to have a nice day, which is microaggression because in our systemic rape culture, no day is a nice day. So we want him fired too.
You don't want to get fired, don't become a teacher, right?
Totally, you should tweet
Fuck
that.
yeah.
Hashtag fire everyone.
Yeah, dude. To be fair, yeah, the Republicans tend to go after teachers a lot too, though.
Stool.
Huh, I guess I could
I mean,
fire up.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
the Republicans are
the,
against
the
like teachers unions, and so.
oh, oh yeah. Well, because I mean that's where a lot of the brain rot starts. If you have like a crazy teacher,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot
yeah,
this was a fucking Palestine thing. My brain just went full talking point mode or whatever the fuck.
well, I mean this is related. So I mean
Yeah.
this is why like the people who are supporting Hamas support Hamas, and they are out there. Like I know you think that most people like support Palestine, not Hamas, but
Why
there is a
would anyone
surprising.
support Hamas? Like, what do they stand for? Like, what cause do they stand for? Like, clearly not a humanitarian cause, since Hamas doesn't support a humanitarian cause. They don't want
They
like
stand
peace.
for decolonization.
Like, what the fuck
Uh,
even is that? Like, for why would we care about that? Like, they want to decolonize Israel. What type of good does that bring to anyone? Like, how does that help the world in any fucking way? Like, why would anyone
well,
want that shit?
they're taught that this is that. I mean, this is what they teach on a lot of those college campuses. But basically, if like a land that was belonging to like someone else, like ahead of time. So, example for America, it's Native Americans. If it like belonged to people ahead of time, and then like you drove them out, uh, the people that drove them out, even if it's later generations that had nothing to do with it, are still guilty of being colonizers, settlers.
Yeah.
And so, because of
I
that,
mean, to be fair,
that is
yes.
why they
Yeah,
justify Hamas.
it's not like the
Even
Democrats
though
just calling us just asking for reparations for fucking slavery, and when we didn't even do that shit, and now we can't say the word nigger because like our fucking ancestors, dude, we don't get the privilege of saying that we be like, but then like Israel doing the collective punishment, it's sort of like the same type of shit, like collective punishment in regards of, oh well, you're associated because those are your ancestors, or whether it be that or whether, oh well, you're living in the midst of them. Like people in Gaza, they don't really have a choice. Oh well, you're sort of associated with Hamas, not because they're your ancestors, but because like they sort of occupy the same type of place that you're confined in. I mean, it's sort of like, I don't know if it's a like exactly the same thing, but there's definitely parallels to draw there, I think.
uh, out of curiosity, why do you think that Israel is carrying out airstrikes?
Oh, because they want to appear strong. They want to give an impression to their civilians. Since, like, they know the Israelis will just fall in line with that. They're probably, like, the Israelis probably have hatred against the Palestinians, just like the Palestinians have hatred against, well, the Israeli state. And some of them probably have blind hatred towards just all of Israel because they probably can't see straight and they probably think, oh well, Israel is just like they're all in favor of this shit because it's sort of like what Hamas does. They just pin the actions of elected leaders onto the people who elected them, even though we don't have a
Uh,
ranked voting system. So it's like we don't really have a choice. But Wait, what was your original question, dude? I feel like I went on a tangent
My
here.
original question is, what is your understanding of why Israel is carrying out airstrikes?
Yeah. So to appear strong and like because also they want to wipe out like the terrorists, and that's probably the most efficient way to wipe out the terrorists. Just don't even care about collateral damage. If you have to kill like thousands of civilians, apparently they have a 95% civilian death rate right now. Well, if they just don't care about that, well, they're probably going to be a lot more efficient. But I'd argue well, what are you trying to get reparations for? Well, the fact that a bunch of US civilians were massacred. But civilians are just as important as any other civilians. Like, a civilian life is a civilian life. And trying to get revenge on, like, your civilians being killed by going, like, oh, well, you went after my civilians, so I'm going after your civilians. Like,
That
two
is not
wrongs,
the
those are two
mentality.
wrongs.
That's what a lot of people think the mentality is, but that's not what it is.
Yeah, I think they just don't care.
Because
They aren't trying to kill Palestinians. They don't care like they aren't trying to target hospitals and kids. They're just trying to do like anything works. And they literally said while combating human animals, we will like act accordingly. Like they were talking about Palestinians. They really have that view of them in the Israeli government, especially Netanyahu. Like he probably sees all of them as animals and sees, oh well, that I don't deem them of moral value enough to be worth. Like, we aren't trying to target the civilians. Obviously, we only care about the terrorists. Like, we don't even consider them worthy of human rights. So why the hell would we care about killing them off when they aren't attacking us? They probably just see them as collateral damage, and it's like they aren't trying to kill them. They just don't mind not avoiding them if it like helps them in their endeavors to get Hamas. Yeah,
the way the way uh, that I would phrase it is Israel's philosophy is avoid killing civilians if they can, but like
do
kill them
they?
if they must.
I mean, 95% civilian death rate. I think you could make that argument if it was like a 5% civilian death rate. Okay. But like 95%, it's like, come on, dude. They have the best intelligence too. It's like, no way, dude. No way they have like that high of a civilian death toll. Like, they sort of knew that was going to happen, right? Like, ahead of time, probably. So it's like, they probably just didn't have a problem with it and didn't care. I mean, I don't think they're really trying to reduce civilian deaths now. Like, are they
I
really?
mean, they gave them time to evacuate.
I mean, like, for example, the hospitals, like, they're like bombing the hospitals. But yeah, they did warn that hospital, who they later claimed, oh, we didn't bomb them. They did warn them that they were
Hey,
gonna bomb
actually,
them.
no. Hold on. I looked into the hospital thing.
Yeah.
So it turns out people are like Israel warned the hospital. So there was a in 2017 there was like an IDF spokesperson said that they warned a hospital before bombing it, and people mixed that up with this new time. Israel did not warn that hospital.
But
So.
didn't they like this? I remember the thing about a spokesperson. That was back then. This time, like they launched shells at it to warn them that like they were. But like the thing is, you like evacuating a hospital. The thing, and we're gonna go back. But like the thing with evacuating a hospital is like there are people under respirators, and they're like, what do you do for them? Do you just like, oh well, you heard the boys, you gotta get out of your ventilator and just take a run for it. We about to blow up this bitch. It's like, well, they're under respirators. They're probably unconscious, hence why they belong in a hospital. It's like, it's pretty fair to say you just don't bomb the hospital, period. And like even if, let's just say for the sake of argument that like at that specific hospital, yeah, Hamas nuked it by accident. Like there's so many other hospitals that they aren't even denying having bombed, and it's like, why are you bombing any hospital? Like obviously that people can't just evacuate. They're sick. They're in there because they need to be and stay in there.
So they're bombing hospitals because Hamas builds their bunkers right under the hospitals. I
Then
mean,
shouldn't they like bring their SWAT team in there or some shit to like raid and like under the hospital?
um, be- I mean, I guess they could, but there's a couple problems that because Hamas knows that land better than them, and they'd be able to navigate it, and they'd be able to snipe the IDF soldiers and then get away through their escape routes that they literally built for getting away.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Apparently, we did lose a war somewhere, like in Vietnam or something. Like they knew the land better. I forgot what country that actually was, but that is a fair point actually. But
Yeah, and then like what a terrorist can do is like they can just they can just they can shoot someone and then they can blend in with like a crowd and then the soldiers will never be able to find them and then they might be put
yeah,
in a situation
yeah,
where they might be like forced to terrorize a crowd and there's so many like there's so many like scenarios
yeah. To be fair,
that
like that
Hamas
is
would
the
work to
case.
their
Like they,
advantage.
yeah, they Hamas has hostages and shit. So if you don't go, like yeah, that is fair. They do try to blend in so that like if you're gonna kill them, you're gonna have to kill civilians too. And it's like terrorists don't really tend to have a conscience in terms of that. Like they're like, oh well, that's collateral damage. They'll just look bad, so it's good enough. But I
And the
mean,
other problem is if you send in soldiers, that's more potential hostages Hamas can take.
yeah, but then
And
they should be heavily armed, heavily equipped, and they should be maybe they I don't really know, but that is a fair point. But for example, I remember back in the day, like I watched in history class, they like back when Osama bin Laden was still around, before they got him, they could have gotten him at some point, and he's a mass terrorist. Like he was the most wanted on the most wanted list, and like the United States had a chance at some point. They knew the building he was in, but the only way they could have killed him was to kill like hundreds of innocent people. Like Osama bin Laden, like knowing the stakes of him, like he is capable of murdering thousands and thousands of people. We still chose to let him live that time because like if we had chosen to take him out, of course that was some of great value. We need to take him out, but it just wasn't worth those like few hundreds, if even like 100 people in that building. Like I mean, I would agree with that decision. Would you agree? I just don't think it's like you have to take that risk. You have to take that risk. There's no other way. Like you can't just bomb a bunch of civilians because of course like oh well that's the game the terrorists want you to play in. But Israel like Hamas is no comparison to Israel. Like Israel is one of the richest countries in the world. If Israel can't take them on with all the power and all the like they have fucking free healthcare. They're literally terrorizing the United States, yet the United States is still cocking up to them and giving them money. It's like they have all the power in the world. Like if they can't take this on without like killing a bunch of civilians, I feel like they just aren't trying. Like they have to have the intelligence. I get that there's
well,
some rules,
actually,
but
actually, no other country can do what Israel is doing and have the and get their casualty count as low as Israel has. So, I mean, I don't know if that counts for
95%.
it.
I mean, 95%
Okay,
civilian death.
where are you getting this 95% statistic?
What?
Where are you getting this 95% death rate
Um.
statistic?
Okay, so I just saw this on Kyle Kalinske. Gonna have to look that up. But yeah. But either way, it was earlier. It was between 60 and 80%, and now it's like jumped up to 60. I mean to 95. I need to see where the fuck this comes from. That's a pretty long video, but okay, yeah, 95%
All right, guys,
civilian
welcome to
death
the
rate.
show. I
Was it? I'm just going to look up the fucking source. What am I doing? 95% civilian death rate. Israel. Uh, okay, not in fucking 2000, the year 2000. What the fuck? Okay, no, 2023. Okay, could we get 2023, motherfucker? Okay. Casualties of the 2023 Israel Hamas war. Okay, here we go. That should be giving us some. This is and fucking Wikipedia. I want to fucking kill myself. This isn't gonna give me shit now, is it? Ah, bro, bro, I don't see this number fucking. Okay, wait. I figured there's a tactic. I could do Control F. Control F. Oh, okay. 95%. Let's see. We're gonna type in 95%. Is it gonna show up anywhere? 95% is it highlighted? Okay, 95% is not in this encyclopedia. Let's move on. Dude, oh my god. Google just is horrible at fucking. Dude, if you try to do Google search, it'll give you every result that has nothing to do with what the fuck you typed in. Okay, that's all times it. Okay, that we might be getting somewhere here. I'm sorry I'm wasting your time, but let me see. This is it. This is it. Okay, shut the fuck up. I'm not trying to create an account, dude. Shut the, bro. What the fuck is this? Am I gonna be able to see this thing? No, I can't see this. But okay, let's just. I mean, fuck it. Let's just stick to the 60 to 80% that we had previously because, I mean, dude, that's already too high. That's already way too high, I think.
All right.
Dude, I'm sorry for giving you fucking brain damage.
All right. Let's see. Response: Israel occupation forces have yet to against indiscriminately bombard the Gaza Strip, the entire residential area, schools, hospitals, mosques, churches, killing around 5,000 people. And this is from the UN press. I'm not gonna trust you, UN press.
I don't even know what the fuck the UN Plus is.
Okay, yeah. So 5,000. So 5,000 Gazan civilians. And the population of Gaza is
Yeah, like 2.2 million.
right.
I mean, to be fair, it's at 42% of
Dude, wait.
Gaza.
Wait, 5,000. That's considering how crowded and densely populated that area, only 5,000 people. Like that's a lot of people, but when you compare it to the amount to
It's
the rest of the population,
wait,
that's not.
42% of Gaza was destroyed. I just learned. Wait, so how the fuck did they? Wait, there's no way they only killed 5,000 people.
I just
That's
looked up Gaza civilian death toll.
okay. Bro, I mean, but what's the percent? How many of these are? It says 1,400. 1,400 died.
No, 1,400 is how many Israelis were killed in the Hamas attack.
Okay. Yeah, damn, that's also a fuck ton. I thought it was like 300 or something. That's like,
I think like initially it was 300, but as uh but as more like bodies were discovered, like because they're not gonna have all the death info immediately. They're gonna need time to like
yeah.
gather all that. So yeah.
But yeah, like how would you say we should solve the Israel crisis? Like, do you think? I think we should have a one-state democracy solution. Like, what would you propose?
I mean, I think we should have that too. It just wouldn't work.
I mean, what do you mean it wouldn't work? How would it not work?
Remember I sent you those videos where like Gazans want to kill Jews?
Oh yeah.
They taught that.
Well, if they actually enforce that, like if they go out and they start trying to kill people, you just put them in jail and you apply the law to them. So, like, if people in the United States just started going around, just like, yeah, we'd put them in prison if they commit crimes. And once like the segregation ends and like equal rights start, like
Yeah.
this hatred is
You-
gonna disperse and everything's gonna be fine. I'd imagine.
You know why that's not going to work? Because the reason why we put people in jail is to discourage them from committing crimes, right? But in the Quran, all right, they basically accept it as truth that uh, that if the more Jews they kill, the better place in heaven they'll have, and like they will be in they think they'll be in paradise, and like that they'll just be in this like wonderland
Yeah, that's
utopia
that's so fucking
once they die,
insane.
and
But
they both like genuinely believe this. So to
I mean,
them,
I'm
so
guessing
basically the
it's
thought
probably
process
not most of them,
is
but Yeah, I'm guessing it's not
So
both of them, but again, like this anger, I'm pretty sure strives from them having like the occupation and the apartheid. Like if we just remove this anger would dissipate. Like if everybody got to
no,
enjoy
not
Jerusalem.
well. I mean, anger might, but the hatred certainly wouldn't. Like I said,
What
dude.
would
So think about it from this perspective, right? If your deal is, oh shit, I I get to go to jail for like a couple decades and like get in a like an eternity like in paradise uh, uh, yeah, I get to go to a paradise where everything's perfect and there's but there's I get to like fuck like 50 bitches because that is actually what they believe
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
like when
they
you go to
do.
heaven.
Yeah, the Quran does, but like again, we're sort of making this generalization, and it's like most people in Israel are probably in favor of the like genocide that we're like going on against Gazans right now, and like we aren't gonna accuse them of all being hateful people. Like the people who are like, oh well, we should treat them as human animals. Like, I mean, they
Uh,
probably just
so
have
here's
that
the thing.
hatred from what like Hamas did to Israel, and that's why they aren't thinking straight, and they're going like nuke all of them. It's all the Gazans, no innocent Gazan. Like there's so many people on the Republican side have been saying that. Like the Prime Minister Netanyahu, I'm pretty sure he said no
Like
innocent Gazan. I'm not sure if that was him, but
so first of all, obviously it's actions that determine like how you should be like judged, not you, like your beliefs. Like if you don't act on like any like moral beliefs, then obviously you're clean. But the thing is, the reason why racism is bad is because just because some like a lot of people of this particular race do a certain thing doesn't mean that all of them are like that, correct?
yeah.
But if everyone like believes in this same set of ideas, like if you ask them, like, what do you believe in? It's like I believe in Islam. So that means all the ideas and baggage that come with Islam,
I
right?
mean, not
Like it's like
not
saying,
necessarily. Yeah, if the culture around it, but again, like I'm sure the culture in Afghanistan is pretty. Yeah, I said that, but like I'm pretty sure it's probably barbaric. But should these people not have human rights? Like, should we not liberate Afghanistan as we did and like make it into a democracy? I think if you give these people rights, they probably start being de-radicalized, sort of like in the
I
United
mean,
States. Like most Muslims, most Christians, like they aren't fundamentalists with separation of church and state. We don't have like an extremist country, and that's why most Christians and most Muslims say if you ask them, "Oh, are you in favor of killing gays, killing infidels, non-believers?" Like whether it be Christians or Muslims, they'll tell you, "No, no, I don't have anything against the gays." Like that's in direct contradiction to their religion, whether it be the Bible
well,
or the Quran, but they're
all
still
right. So here's the okay, I'm gonna explain the other difference. So Christians have different sects, like of their religion. So there's Orthodox, Catholic, Protestant, all these different beliefs, and like some of them don't believe or interpret the Bible differently than other parts. So maybe all Orthodox Christians believe what the Bible says about the gays, but for those other sects, they don't because their particular sect of the religion interprets it differently. So we are to take anyone of that sect as their sect interprets the Bible.
I mean, isn't there just one Bible though? I mean,
Just because there's like one Bible doesn't mean like the passages and teachings can't be interpreted for modern times. I
that's so
mean, because
weird because they all praise the same Bible. They all think God made the same Bible, but in that holy scripture, which they all praise in common, like all Christians, like there are these things written now. They can tell us like, oh well, you should like learn the language of like it was just translated badly. But then it's like, I mean, how do you translate badly? All gays should fucking die and shit. I don't get
uh,
that.
that's not what I mean by interpretation. Um,
Oh, not
when I
bad
say interpret,
translation.
like the Bible has like many stories that are supposed to be like moral prescriptions for the for like Christians and stuff. So uh, so basically, it's like, well, actually, now that we're in modern times, I think what this is really is saying is this, or yeah, maybe this, or maybe they might like say, uh, yeah, maybe it says that there, or like maybe it said this, but it was in the spirit of this other idea. So
Yeah, like
therefore,
I
we
mean,
can.
yeah, God speaks from both sides of his mouth, like politicians do. But like, I mean, yeah, what the fuck was I going to say? Like I definitely my point is that like whether I get if there are different branches of Christianity, let's say like some branches aren't hateful, but the point is that whether it be Christianity or Islam, like this country, the United States, is not a hateful country. People over here aren't hateful. That's in our culture because this is a democracy and a free country, and hatred tends to spark from like misery. That's what breeds in hatred, and that's what makes hatred prevail. Because when you're miserable, you start hating one another. That's a human flaw. But like then you'll see like this is a democracy, whether it be Muslims, because Muslims, I don't know of any different branches. They're probably awesome, but like Muslims or Christians over in the United States, any like barbaric beliefs that the Holy Scripture might have, like they don't prescribe to that. But over in like countries where there's more suffering, say in Gaza where they have segregation, like they are going to be suffering a lot more, and there's going to be a lot more hatred. And I think if you install democracy, people get less radical because radical beliefs are sort of breeded in by suffering.
So, so hold on. So I saw a poll the other day, that that like polled Muslims that had immigrated to European countries, uh, and like so basically
They should definitely
they have
screen
to
them.
abide by the laws of those European countries. But like when they were asked about how do you pronounce it, apostasy?
Oh, fucking Sharia law.
Uh, yeah, like 50% that are living in the European countries were still in favor of Sharia law. So they're living in like obviously better countries than
Yeah,
the places they immigrated from.
because they're migrating from these like Middle Eastern countries, and they probably maintain their culture for a few generations. Because yeah, the culture in these like countries they're migrating from are like these shitty cultures. But yeah, like either way, like the best way to deal with it, well, firstly screen those immigrants for like to do you support fucking Sharia law where they kill infidels and all that bullshit, right? Like ask them questions like that, and they won't fucking. I mean, yeah, the Quran does say you can lie to protect your religion, so like, yeah, Christians wouldn't do that, and Muslims, I don't know, dude. It's like they barely even follow their own holy scripture, but yeah, in these radical countries, you'll find people like that, but ending more suffering will bring less of that. It'll like tranquilize that at least a little bit. And I like
Hmm.
a democracy. Like, there's no even if it might not work because some of these people are hateful. I mean, we need to tame them by firstly giving them equal rights, but like there's just no justification to having them segregated, even if well, they have evil views. Like, what? How did they come to having these evil views? Probably the fact that they're segregated is proof enough for them. Oh well, these people must hate us, so we should hate them too. And if you just take that off, you actually offer them some love. The critical thinking skills would be, oh well, maybe these people don't hate us. They finally are considering our human rights. Hamas isn't considering their human rights. Like Hamas isn't treating Palestinians well. So like maybe it'd change perspectives on reasonable people, and people tend to be reasonable. So
All right. I'm gonna send you a meme. Um,
okay,
so you said that if we show them love, they'll be less hateful, right?
well, I hope so. Fuck.
You hope so?
Yeah, I really fucking hope so. That's how humans
Okay.
tend to work.
So,
Like
I don't know.
reciprocity.
So, I mean, so
Quiz for Palestine. I wait. Queer action kit. Why does it matter if you're fucking queer? If you support rights, like if oh well, we are queer. We wanna be in a humanitarian crisis. We wanna elevate the fact that we are fucking gay. Okay, we like dick. I want everybody to know in the middle of this Like people getting bombed, dude. I like dick, okay. I like dick, okay. A quiz in fuck
Even no, no.
quiz in
Here's the thing.
Palestine. I just fucking noticed. Oh fuck, Jesus Christ, dude. What the
Yeah, but
fuck?
even if you like try, uh, like
But again, I'm sure most people
even
aren't
if you
like that.
try and get along, I like sorry, every like homosexual that's tried to get along, like in a lot of Muslim majority countries, and show love per se, didn't work out
Yeah,
too well for
it's
them. I'm
pretty
just gonna
fair
say
to
that.
say that the Muslim religion is extremely anti-gay, is extremely like homophobic. But then like the Christian religion is too. But then I'm guessing if we didn't have the separation of church and state, uh, people in America would be a lot more hateful towards gay people. Like before we had that, I'm sure. Like it's only a recent development, and it like this a thing of being more and more accepting. Like what did we have this century? This really is a century of exponential growth and acceptance of all fucking different types of people, with the like allowing women to vote, allowing gay people to get married, allowing black people to vote, etc. It's like we're pretty much just giving people more and more rights, and that comes from us being a more and more developed country with like more and more rights for people. People tend to be less hateful in those circumstances, and like again, I'm sure if we didn't have separation of church and state, just like most of these Muslim majority countries don't have, they have like the Quran is a big part of their government. Like they legislate according to their religion. Like if we didn't have that, if we didn't have separation of church and state here, people would be more radical here, and they would be more hateful of gay people because the Bible doesn't really exactly like the gays either. They're definitely then closer to Quran, but they still don't really like the gays. But yeah, I think it's more of a fundamentalist thing in these countries being extreme than specifically the religion. Because if you look at Muslims over here, I know a bunch of Muslims over here. None of them have a problem with gay people, not any more than any other Christian in America would. Uh, so it's probably something to do with the radicalization of those countries.
Um, so it could be that, but also could be. I mean, I'm sure there's probably plenty of like Muslims that are genuinely like that. Uh, the pro the problem is, like I said that with the reason why there's different sects of the Christianity is because the Bible can be interpreted in different ways. But the problem with the Quran is that there's a lot less interpretation um
Mm.
that's there, and like like some like yeah, it's great that of course that they're more accepting, but like at a certain point, like it just like it stops being just a different interpretation and just something else entirely if you stray too far from like I guess the original beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, it I know some people who are practicing Muslims in the United States who don't hate the gays. Like they just like it's just in our culture. There's a point where like religion is based on hatred, but like today's modern world just doesn't at all reflect on the beliefs held in religion, and it seems that our culture is prevailing over religion because. Who the fuck wants to read that whole boring fucking scripture
Also,
where like it doesn't really say anything most of the time? It's just saying God is almighty. Like who the fuck cares? Nobody wants to listen to that shit. Like culture is way more important to a lot of people.
yeah. Also, if there's Muslims like moving to the United States, like think about why a lot of those Muslims might be moving. Because if they like screwed something up in like their original country and like they're gonna like get punished severely for that, like yeah, get the hell out of there. And that does happen a lot.
Eh. Uh, don't we sort of have a pact with like most countries? If you're like if the people who are migrating here and they committed a crime, like we automatically send them back. Doesn't the U.S. do that?
If they commit a crime, don't we? Yeah, I think we do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we probably do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, no, sorry. We only send them back usually if they're here illegally. If they have like citizenship, you can't send them back. You just throw them in jail at that point.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but So the thing is, why I don't um I'm not entirely opposed to peace, but you make it sound like it'd be a lot more easier than it would really be because every time Israel's like, okay, we're gonna give you guys we're gonna give you Palestinians a little bit of land. Like they were just met with like terrorism. It's like, okay, we got to take it
I
back
mean, to
now.
be fair, yeah, we
But,
were stealing a lot of their land, but I mean, what were we just talking about, dude? Palestinians and the wait, what was like the last sentence you said?
so we were talking about, I guess like
Yeah,
radicalized Muslims.
yeah. Wait, wait. So what about them again?
So so every time like Israel's tried, okay, we're gonna give you guys some like these small areas of land,
Yeah,
like that was originally ours. We're gonna give it to you, and we're gonna start from there and work our way up to like giving you like even more land so that it's an even split. And every time they tried that, they took advantage of that to like commit an attack on Israel, and Israel had to take the land back.
uh, that really happened. Like Israel gave Gazans more land.
Yeah. Um, here, let me look it up.
Yeah. Dude, I am just so fucking high. But
Yeah, because numerous times throughout history, Israel's tried to like work out like a peaceful like negotiation with Palestinians.
uh
Um, and then
dude,
like every time it's been met with violence.
that I don't know. Was it from Palestinians though, or it was probably from Hamas, right? Because
Uh, I'm uh yeah, recently it was Hamas, but before Hamas was
yeah.
around,
Oh yeah, I was just dude. I have ADHD and I just had something on my mind. I completely forgot what the hell. Yeah, dude. So yeah, you were asking me like what like you think my view is like it's more complicated than that, dude. Yeah, I'm sure that it is more complicated. I don't know anything about how complicated this show would be. Like I'm just a nigga with a mic, as Leafy would say. Like I don't know how complicated it'd be. I'm just going off of my intuitions. And based on my intuitions, it's like you give people love, they tend to not respond with hate. But, hmm.
I mean, so think about it this way. If you believe you're gonna ha spend eternity in paradise after you die, I don't it doesn't you're not gonna care too much about like what happens now if it's like or if it's shitty because in the end, you're gonna be living the good life
Oh, yeah.
in heaven. So if you think about it, it's like they're gonna be like, I don't fucking care if you're treating me nice. I'm gonna be getting bitches up in heaven
Yeah,
and
to be
shit.
fair. But then it's like not all Palestinians going out of their way to try committing terrorist attacks. Like, wait,
Uh,
do you have
yeah,
any
that's no big
polls?
deal.
Do you have any polls on how many Palestinians favor specifically terrorist attacks? Because like apparently, like 70% of them want a ceasefire. So that doesn't really sound like a lot of them. Like 70% of Palestinians want a ceasefire.
Okay, so saying you want to ceasefire like after like what Hamas did, that's like challenging uh that's like so like say your house get like you challenge someone to a pistol duel and you're like uh and you go and before the other person can shoot you go truce and then you shoot them and then before they can shoot
Yeah, when
like in the
you're fucking
kneecap.
playing tag and you just like cross your fingers. I fucking hate when people do that shit. No, I completely get it, but it's like from the civilian's point of view, like imagine if you were in a country and your fucking dumbass leaders had just I don't know, they had just had a midlife crisis, and in the middle of that midlife crisis, they shot missiles at the United States. Like, it'd be rational for you, like, whoever you are, to be like, fuck, dude. I really would like for the United States not to come nuke me, dude. I didn't do anything. I don't want to be in the middle of all this. It's like that's probably most of the civilians' response is, I don't want this to escalate. I don't want my side to escalate. I don't want this war to continue. It's like Hamas wants this war to continue. They aren't backing down. They aren't retreating. They aren't waving the white flags. So if these people are saying we want a ceasefire, that doesn't really indicate support of Hamas.
The reason why I think it does is because uh, if they truly wanted uh, to uh, to like find a resolution where all parties are satisfied, instead of saying we want a ceasefire, they would say we want Hamas to turn themselves over to the Israeli government and surrender. Because
But
then
like,
the
I mean,
airspace would
that won't
stop.
happen. That won't, and obviously they know that won't happen. But it's like, I mean, that
It won't happen. It might not happen, but it would definitely put pressure on Hamas, and it
imagine
would
if
definitely, and they definitely be willing to like make
Hamas is
compromises,
definitely not
and
very
it could only
popular
help.
amongst Palestinians right now because, like, Gazans probably like hating Hamas the most right now because Hamas is a fucking like the ones that sort of started this, and that Hamas knew when they started this terrorist attack that Israel would retaliate. So Gazans are blaming Hamas because they should be for the retaliation because Hamas knew that there'd be retaliation and they just didn't care because they just are bloodthirsty. Like Gazans actually blame Hamas for doing this shit. And yeah, like wait, what were you saying? Like about yeah, it's in support of Hamas. Like I don't know. I think if people like yeah, what I was gonna say. Imagine if every Gazan like sort of went together and like started manifesting Hamas, right? And if they started like protesting Hamas, what do you think Hamas would do? They just start fucking killing them because they don't even care about their lives anyway, since they fucking like orchestrated a terrorist attack on Israel that they would that they already knew like they wouldn't fucking win. No, like Gaza isn't going to win to Israel. Not in a million years, dude. No fucking way. Like they knew that shit. They knew that Israel would retaliate with their fucking collective punishment and all that barbaric shit, and they knew it'd fall on the backs of civilians of Gaza, which is why the civilians of Gaza are like largely blaming Hamas. They don't have a great popularity score right now, but yeah, and like people who want a ceasefire, they are just saying like we don't want to continue this. They are just waving their white flag. We would like to surrender and have this escalation stop. Like we are not part of this. We don't want to. Again, okay, what is this? Uh, Full show majority of Gazans were against breaking ceasefire. Okay. Dude, wasn't that exactly what I was just about? Like well, there we go. Now we have this. Uh, According to the latest Washington Institute polling conducted in July 20, Hamas's decision to break the ceasefire. Wait, Hamas decided to break the ceasefire. Oh yeah, to break the ceasefire, not to have a ceasefire. Nah, I just didn't read the word break because I'm retarded anyway. Hmm.
Or it
Hamas,
says 50% agreed to the following proposal. Hamas should stop calling for Israel's destruction.
dude, I'm
That
slow.
means 50% wants Israel's destruction.
I'm slow.
So,
I'm not on that part yet. But 50% means there's also a 50% that like don't fucking like want all the Jews to die and all that shit. And it's like that sort of says to me, oh well, 50% of these people are radicalized, and that makes sense since they're living segregated. Well, if there's at least half of them that despite their horrible living conditions and the indoctrination that's going on over there, like they are still open to the idea, yeah, like they are seeing straight. It's not all the Jews' fault. Most Jews in Israel have nothing to do with this because that only makes sense. Like that sort of signifies if we like let them have a democracy, we de-radicalize them, like they would integrate better.
I do agree that de-radicalization would help, but a lot of that would have a lot of that would have to be like I guess telling them like, yo, you can't be believing some of the stuff you guys believe. So I don't
Uh,
know how far
yeah, you can't be
we want to
teaching
go
it in
with
schools, definitely. You can't be teaching in schools that like oh, they kill all the Jews. Maybe take over their school system, but don't teach them anything about Palestinians being bad either. Because I'm sure in Israel they probably teach that in school. I don't know,
it.
but
And like, and here's the thing, uh, there cannot like, although like coming to a like peaceful solution and like de-radicalization is important, it can't come at the potential risk of endangering Israelis. We
yeah.
like
No, I
you
get
should
that.
be for you should be for helping people, but you got to put your own people first, if that makes any
No,
sense.
I get that. I mean, I'm not a nationalist, but I definitely get why that would be a country's priority. But like the thing is, Gazans live in horrible living conditions. They get bombed all the time. Like
Here's the thing. Remember, you have to think about it from this perspective. Horrible living conditions are nothing. If you, like, again, you believe and accept it as truth, if you're going to be living the good life in heaven when you die. It's like, to them, they're like, this is just more suffering that I have to bear before, like, but it'll all be worth it when I go to
I
heaven.
mean,
So, like,
like
either
if
way you
you
slice
pulled
it, if it's
that.
good or bad, they believe, like, it's all going to be the same if they just believe they're just going to go to
Yeah, I
heaven
mean,
and
like I'm sure if
be.
you pulled that issue, like if you pulled Gazans on whether they whether they mind their humanitarian condition, I'm sure a lot more than like a fringe minority care about. Yeah, like I'm just saying, like from the standpoint of Israel, like okay, if you think integrating Gazans, like bring them, okay, well we have a one state, every Gazan can come into Israel any place they want. There might start being like some genocide. Well, at least in Gaza, like let's just say we keep them in Gaza, right? There is no excuse for them to be living like the average Gazan is 18 years old. Like, what does that tell us? And you look, they have unhygienated water. The water isn't clean. They don't have like their living conditions are so bad that they're dying so early that like the average person's 18. They're dying at like 30, 40. Like it's like the fact that we're just letting them have these living conditions. Like again, that probably contributes a lot to their radicalization. And again, like they're like yeah, in Islam, like you keep pointing back to that. Oh well, they believe if you kill infidels, well you. But people, I know a lot of Muslims over here, they don't believe that shit. Because guess what? The United States isn't a radical country. People over here, like Muslims over here, don't have to bear the suffering of segregation and the indoctrination that goes in their schools and all. Like they don't live in that type of culture. So if we just like changed at least the living conditions, that might change their culture a little bit because it does over here.
Uh, I think if they grew up and were born in one of these countries, I think there's a lot, at least spent the majority of their childhood in one of these countries. I think there's definitely a chance, but how do you
Yeah, I
like
mean,
undo like what you like basically everything they've been taught since they were a child, since they're an infant?
yeah, so I think that would definitely. It's not like racism, but look at how quickly, like America, we desegregated, and over how many years, like just 2 generations. There aren't any more racist people today. Gazans, I'm sure it'd take a long time. You won't have like nobody be an anti-Semite overnight. That's just not gonna happen. Just like you weren't gonna have no more racists as soon as desegregation happened, but if you just firstly give them better living conditions, like the like half the people, like the average age is 18, unacceptable, unclean waters, no like hygienated, they're just all starving over there, dying of diseases. No, we wouldn't let our citizens go through that. Why should
Well,
they
here's the
deserve less
thing.
human rights?
Here's the thing. The racism in America, and then I guess I guess
Yeah, I
racism
guess the
Gazans have.
yeah, the religion, it's attached to the
It's
religion.
totally different because why you think about it, why were people in the South racist like in the 1800s? Well,
Yeah,
it was because
slavery was
like
a common practice.
it
Yeah.
was labor that greatly benefited
Yeah,
like
but I
the
mean
economy
that's for
and
the
basically made
rich.
things
That's
easier for them.
yeah, but that's for the rich. I mean, we did have money in politics, but like like if we're talking about the average southern person who like didn't own land, because I'm sure the middle class was probably like still making up the bulk of the country. They probably didn't own any slaves, so they didn't benefit from that shit. But like it was also like in their culture that like black people were inferior. So like it's in the culture of Gazans that like we hate Jews. And I get like the religion isn't gonna change all the like this culture, but like the culture does prevail over religion a lot of the time, since like in the United States Muslims aren't radical.
Well, I mean, the thing is, even that belief that 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 black people are inferior, that didn't just come about on its own. So when like in Africa, when the uh like a lot of the slaves that were brought over to America were sold by other like African tribes and kingdoms like to like settlers over there. And then like the settlers over there were like, is it really okay for us to like use these guys for labor? And like the Africans over there are like, yeah, totally. They work for you and they can do like whatever. It's like, okay,
Yeah, like
if you
they
say
were
so.
just prisoners, right? Like I'm pretty sure most
They're
of
just
them
prisoners. Yeah, exactly. And then like,
were
of
prisoners.
course, since they didn't like speak English or that like and like looked vastly different from them, I guess it was kind of easy to accept that when they were being
Yeah,
sold
they
by
would
like
justify
these
it by like
African
we're
tribes.
saving their fucking lives, dude. They would just kill these people otherwise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in Islam, like it's literally because they believe like how do you disprove that? How do you disprove that? Because the way you could disprove I guess the racism in America is well, I mean they they like slaves because it makes life easier for them. But like
Yeah,
if they
not
believe
anymore.
that they're gonna go to heaven if they kill these people, how do you convince that? I mean,
The thing is,
how do
like
you
that.
convince that?
Yeah, I definitely get the religion won't change. Like the Quran won't evolve what the culture is. The culture evolves with like black people. Like we sort of had an empathetic argument to justify their suffering, I guess, and it sort of made sense. I get that those two aren't direct comparisons, but then like the religion won't evolve, but the culture can evolve above the religion, because when you have less suffering and less misery, like this hatred sort of like falls apart. And that, like as I pointed out, Muslims in the United States, the Quran doesn't change in the United States, but all the Muslims I know in the United States, they don't have a problem with gay people. They don't have, yet they do say, yeah, I practice the Quran, I pray, to halal, it's my, but then they don't hold these barbaric practices, because in the United States, our culture prevails over the religion, because our culture promotes like non-hatred, and that's stronger to people. And when you show people love over the centuries, like if you ended the horrible humanitarian living conditions in Gaza over like the years, they would probably flourish and find better things to concentrate on than their own suffering, because that's sort of how people like go whenever we don't have suffering to concentrate on. As we evolved into a first world country in the United States, we began to love one another more than hate one another, and recognize that that's better, because like we're also more fucking educated. Maybe change the fucking school system to educate them on shit that isn't killing fucking Jews. I mean, I think that's a fair step. Even if they were sort of taking control over them to that extent, it's like, yeah, that I guess that's sort of part of integrating them. Have their schools not teach them garbage. That's a part of humanitarian rights.
Now, how do we do this without obviously risking anti-Semitic violence?
I
Because
mean,
there's a huge risk of that.
okay, so at the worst, leave their schools the way they are, I guess. But I'm gonna tackle that in a bit. But like, firstly, make sure the humanitarian conditions above all, they don't have poisoned waters. They have clean water supplies and all. That's like the first step. But then schools, I guess, you don't necessarily bring Israeli teachers to come do the job, such that oh well, there might be some anti-Semitic violence to the Israelis, and like just have you know what we did in Afghanistan with the government, right? We just like they had terrorists over there. The people over there were under what's it called, the Taliban for a long time. I'm sure they agreed with the Taliban a little bit, like probably to the same extent that people in Palestine agree with Hamas, right? Because like the Taliban was oppressing the people in Afghanistan, and Hamas is oppressing the Palestinians and shit. So like, but then we took over Afghanistan, and well, look what happened. We're probably glad that we did. It's probably a win-win for like everybody. So I mean, I think there'd probably be probably, and again, I don't know exactly how that happened, but I'm guessing it'd probably be a similar situation, like how we took over Afghanistan. We take over their fucking school system.
Uh, let's see. I'm gonna. Let's see. The United States. Well, I mean, you say that like it's so easy, but you
I
forget
don't know
that.
how easy or hard it is, but I think it's worth it for humanitarian rights causes.
Okay. Well, those humanitarian rights cost the lives of 70,000 Afghanistan military and police deaths and 46,319 civilian deaths
Fuck.
at the hands of the U.S. Army. So,
Shit, so
yeah.
was it worth it? But do you think it
I
was
mean,
worth it?
maybe.
Fuck, maybe, maybe. Shit, I don't know. Shit, yeah. I
But
don't
if
fucking
you
know, dude.
compare how many Palestinians are getting killed, uh, like I guess compared to the amount of civilians and soldiers that the U.S. has killed and like a bunch of the other countries in the Middle East, like Israel's doing a way better job than the U.S.
Dude, I don't know
So
anything, but the U.S. doesn't tend to do a great job fucking either with like civilian casualties. They don't really tend to give a shit either. But I remember when apparently Obama had a drone strike that like he permitted that killed like some fucking like little kids and all, and he didn't have to do
yeah.
that. Like I'm pretty just drone strikes in general, they just tend to have a huge fucking civilian death rate. But
Yeah. And then the thing with like drones is like it's not like a big explosion like with all this dust and debris. Those are that's like a very specific target that gets shot. And so I would say that when you kill someone with like a drone strike, um, like there's even more accountability there.
yeah.
Uh,
Wait,
but
what? What was the question? Dude, I was zoned out.
so when it comes to a drone strike versus an airstrike, because a drone strike is more concentrated and therefore less likely to take civilian casualties, because like with an airstrike, there's like a bunch of debris and like dust
Yeah.
and like the explosion itself. I'd say there's more accountability with a drone strike.
I don't know any of it. Like, drone strikes versus air strikes. I didn't even really know that there was a difference. Wait. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
anything about that. What these even look like. Air strikes. I don't see anything comparing them. I mean, I definitely think no matter what, you should go with the tactic that kills the least amount of civilians, but like mostly you should make sure to target specifically the terrorists, bring them to
They
justice.
are. They are. Every place that Israel's bombed is specifically a place where Hamas hides out.
Yeah, I
They
mean
don't.
that's fair,
Yeah.
but still, I don't know. I mean to be fair, I don't know enough on that fucking topic to know exactly what's going on, exactly with the fault lines. But like, I don't know. I feel like they shouldn't bomb hospitals if they're going to take out a hospital, for example. Like you're gonna be like okay with those civilians dying if like I don't know people on respirators. Well, they're gonna have to fucking die. Well, then you should like have the balls to bring your military in there, bring people who are like super fucking armed, super like bulletproof fucking everything. Oxygen masks, fucking bring them in astronaut suits, motherfucker. Bring them with like the guillotine. Actually, that's not really gonna help them, but like the big guns, okay, the big guns, all that shit. And get them to do a fucking like what's it called, a raid on the fucking shit. It's like, how the fuck Hamas would they like fucking no, they don't have sticks. They have fucking knives, probably all that shit. It's like they aren't gonna like no way they're gonna compete with them. It's like
Guess what?
Israel is the
Guess what?
biggest
They
mountain.
if they try, okay, they send like a bunch of troops in the hospital, like then guess what? Hamas blows up that hospital themselves because it
Well, they
just killed a
check
bunch of
seriously.
Israeli
Like
soldiers.
Israel has like the best tools for that stuff. They have the best like equipment. They should get the like check from afar. Have their what's it called their equipment and shit to check. Oh well, is this hospital about to blow up? Is there any sign of like a radioactive fucking activity going on? Like they should be able to like check that from I don't know. I'm not
Bombs.
sure.
I don't think bombs are radioactive. I mean, I guess maybe certain types are, but
Yeah,
uh,
I'm not sure what the fuck I'm saying at this point. I'm sort of like half fucking asleep.
well, I think what you're saying is that Israel has all this great military technology that surely they can check for like bombs and stuff
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
or
that's in short what I was saying, yeah.
but
But in fact,
I
I'm not sure.
they would have used that to find all the Hamas weapon caches by now, if they could do that. And yeah, they're not that advanced. In fact,
Yeah,
they would be
they're
using
Hamas.
they would be spamming that if they had that.
Fuck,
Um,
that's a fair point. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
but yeah, the thing is, people that will side with Palestine, Gaza, Hamas, whatever, they'll typically appeal to the amount of damage done, and then most people will look at it and they'll not draw comparisons to like when other militaries handle similar like situations or when our military handles situations, and they'll think it's outrageous. But
Yeah,
what
I
you'll
know
see,
there's a lot of outrage over that, and like, of course, like there's human casualties, like that's some everyone's going to be outraged over, and I get sometimes there's no avoiding it. That's why like some collateral damage is acceptable, but when you see these numbers of like civilian casualties versus terrorist casualties, it's sort of hard to think like this is just we can't go around killing like all those civilians. But the thing is, like, I get like I completely confess that I don't know exactly like all the context and all the details of any of this. Like, for all I know, they really have no other choice, and they're doing the best they can to avoid civilian casualties. But it really is that complicated, and like I just really am in the dark. But then the thing is, like, they're saying, oh well, they want to reduce civilian casualties. If all these things are secretly justified, I just don't know that. Like, why are they saying, oh well? They're publicly saying, yeah, these people are human animals. We will act accordingly. Like, why would they say that publicly if their intentions are really, oh well, we care about these people's lives, especially when we allow them to be like, we leave them in these horrible humanitarian conditions. We don't let them flee and shit. Or like, yeah, that's a
the
whole
human
different
animals
story.
comment was in reference to Hamas,
Mm,
but I'm but yeah, some people like I think there's enough
maybe.
interpretation there for well, they were saying Hamas, but it was really so people would associate Palestinian people with Hamas.
Yeah, but
But
they have said like no innocent gas and all. Like it's pretty clear, and especially with the humanitarian standards over there, like they don't care about these people. Otherwise, they wouldn't like be segregating them in a land where they don't have clean water. They like obviously they don't seem to care about their humanitarian rights or
well,
conditions since like that's how they're treating them. But then like they say shit like that, like no Gazans or anything. Like Gazans are just horrible. We're gonna like kill all of this stuff. We're gonna bomb the shit out of them. We're gonna retaliate. It's
already
like you.
they've tried to come like improve like humanitarian conditions before. Like I said, there have been a couple instances
You
where
said you
they've
gave
like
them more
okay,
land or something.
yeah, yeah, and then they had to retract it because of like terrorist attacks that followed after that.
So do you think if they gave them say clean water, like just humanitarian standards where like they don't starve, they like all that stuff doesn't happen. They just stop constantly bombing them and stuff. Like, I mean, they don't try to get involved or give them more anything. They just
So
improve their
here's the other thing. Here's the
humanitarian
other thing.
sense.
They don't have clean water right now, but there were a couple of points uh, where they did have clean water in the past couple of years,
Did it
but they
lead to more
don't
terrorist
now.
attacks?
What?
Did it lead to like more terrorist attacks? I'm sorry,
Uh,
keep going.
yeah, I mean, technically yes, because what happened is Hamas took a lot of the water, the water pipes. They like sawed them out. They dismantled them and then turned those pipes into missiles. And then they like recorded a video of themselves doing that.
But how would the water being clean like help the like wouldn't the pipes be there, especially the pipes? It's not even like they're utilizing the water, so the water being clean doesn't even matter since it's like the same pipes. Like how would there
Well, I
being
mean,
clean water like facilitate them using the pipes to somehow build nukes? And how the fuck did they do that?
because so I'm not a plumber, so I don't know how it works, but there are like pipes and filters that are built into the system, and like when you remove a lot of those to build missiles, then the water's not going to get filtered,
Yeah.
and or maybe the water flows, but like it flows like on top of dirt and stuff, and then it goes back into the pipe, and then the water's all dirty.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
uh,
I was like half zoned out. So like the pipe, wait, so what you said is pretty much like since the pipe is cleaner because the water is less dirty, like they get to do more with the pipes.
no, they take out they because of them. So the water would be clean if they left the pipes intact, but because they took out parts, the water becomes dirty when it comes to like when it comes up through sinks and faucets and whatnot.
Huh. So like the
Does that
water
make-
is dirty because Hamas did that?
Yeah, Hamas took the pipes and constructed missiles out of them
Damn.
to use against Israel.
So like shouldn't we just like try to keep going after Hamas then and also favor Palestinian rights since like this is a humanitarian rights crisis. We should probably like if they do that to Israelis, oh well we retaliate. But if like they're doing that to their own civilians and we let them do that, like why wouldn't we go after them? Make sure,
Why-
hey, like
That's
you're
why we're
blowing up
trying to
our
kill them for
infrastructure.
good. We're trying to kill Hamas for good. If we can kill Hamas for good, we can appoint new Palestinian leadership, and then with better leadership, the humanitarian conditions will
Yeah.
improve. Because
I
a
don't
lot of
think
that,
Netanyahu's gonna elect great people, but yeah.
yeah, uh, that's probably true. But whoever he elects, I can guarantee you, are probably going
Better
to be a
than
lot better than
Hamas.
Hamas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking obviously, but I don't think I don't know, he's gonna wipe out Hamas. I don't think it's worth all the thousands of people being killed in Gaza. I don't like I think there's probably I don't know, I just have trouble believing that they're doing their absolute best to limit civilian casualties when like not only do the numbers show like way more civilian casualties, like maybe they just can't do around that and I'm just like throwing my intuitions, but my intuitions just like don't take
Right.
context into consideration. But then when you consider how they talk about Palestinians, it's like that just makes the context a lot clearer. Like they don't have a lot of regards for their rights.
Oh, you have to understand if there's people you know or people that like are like because remember like Hamas did this first like are talking about like their loved ones missing and uh like oh like this my child was killed, this person was burned alive. You're going to be understandably angry,
Yeah,
and besides the human animals comment was towards Hamas,
yeah.
in the moment,
Yeah,
like
okay, maybe
uh,
that one. But they said a lot of things. I mean, I can't point to any of them, so I might as well be talking out of my ass. But I'm pretty sure their rhetoric towards Palestinians is like, it's probably sort of the same as the rhetoric that Palestinians have towards them. There's probably hatred equally on both sides. And to be fair, I could even
uh
understand it since the fucking terrorist attack. But
so I'm not sure it's I mean, that's true. So here's why. Because there are Gazans and like uh that there are Gazans that once lived in the Gazan Strip that now live in Israel. Uh, there's like there are some people that support that support like Gaza and Palestine that live in Israel. You'll see no one like that in any of the Palestinian countries. So while there is probably rhetoric in Israel, it's probably not going to be as bad as whatchamacallit, uh, 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 Palestine, Gaza and the West Bank.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because you know, like there's more freedom, I guess, to express things other than hate in Israel. But that isn't to say that there is probably a lot of uh, like anti Palestine and like anti Gazan kind of
In
rhetoric
Israel
in
too.
like Israel, but I assure you, it's probably nothing compared to a lot of
Yeah.
like what happens
Yeah,
in
but yeah, to
Gaza.
be fair, but yeah, the thing is with that, it's probably also because Israelis they live in much better living conditions, so they aren't prone to hatred as much as the Palestinians who live in horrible living conditions, which those tend to amount to having positions of hatred. Like again, that's what causes hatred a lot of the time. Is having like this oppressive regime over yourself.
Um, I I'm sure that there's some Gazans that feel that way, like I but But like I said, it's kind of like it's kind of baked into what they believe, like what they're
Yeah.
taught. Like regardless, think about it this way: even if you're living in great living conditions, like you're still being taught like this, like anti-Semitism, like while you're learning to speak. Um,
Yeah.
so it's hard to
No,
say
we should
that
definitely
wouldn't.
do something about that. Well, Israel should.
Yeah, we definitely should do something about that. But to chalk it up to like living conditions or like mostly living conditions, I would say
Well,
is
I think that's how you get the culture to change, though. I think, like,
that
obviously,
is
it's not
probably
a
how you get the
direct
culture.
result. Obviously, it's like just a correlation thing, but like, that's the type of culture. It's on like, actually, no, that's a horrible comparison, but, like, of course, the living conditions aren't directly responsible for, like, the fucking religion that's being radical and all that, but it definitely contributes to it. Like hatred
Oh, wait,
comes
okay.
from.
Actually, I just thought of a good way to think of it. So say that like maybe you're on the fence of whether or not you go to heaven after you die. You don't know what
You
the
have to be
answer is.
radical.
But if everything keeps getting increasingly shittier and shittier, uh, the more you're probably gonna like be desperate for like an afterlife
Yeah, it's
where
actually
you're
a
in
great
paradise to be true.
analogy.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. So
Yeah.
I would say a good way to put it is if anyone like didn't know like if like the afterlife is real, the conditions in Gaza would probably affirm that.
Wait, could you repeat that phrase? I'm half asleep.
So if you're like maybe the afterlife isn't real, maybe it is. If you're living in like these horrible conditions, like the more it like for the sake of like how desperate you are, the more it's gonna seem like it has to be real. So anyone who's like wavering between whether or not it's real is gonna have that
Yeah.
affirmed by
Yeah,
the
that's.
conditions in Gaza.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. Yeah.
So um,
Like, what's your response? I guess I don't know.
anyways, um, what I've noticed is whenever anyone brings up anything bad Israel does, it'll make you go, oh shit, maybe I need to reconsider my perspective on this. But if you like look it up, you'll find that it's always like like there's something the Palestinians did first. I'm like, oh, wait. There, a lot of the pro-Palestine like side takes things out of
No, like
context.
I definitely get that it's retaliation. Like Israel wasn't like Putin who's invading Ukraine. Like, that's a whole different thing. But like even if you're doing it in retaliation, if you're retaliating like uh against a terrorist, I can't fucking speak. If you're retaliating against a terrorist attack by acting in kind, meaning you respond with your own terrorist attack, also against civilians, because like those are the majority of the people who take the shock. I mean, of course, that's not justified. If you of course, if you're retaliating, like it's fair that you retaliate. But if you're retaliating against the wrong people, the innocents, like that makes you just as bad. And it's like I guess it's in retaliation, so it doesn't make you like all the way as bad, but it's pretty close still.
All right, let me ask you this, because surely you would agree that Israel, like after what happened on October 7th, that it definitely needs to respond. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think you
of
would
course.
also agree that there's no way that there isn't going to be civilian casualties from this.
Oh
Like
yeah,
no
but
matter
if it was
what,
like, yeah, if it was like 10, even say 20%, I'd be a lot more like what's it called? I'd be a lot more subtle with it. And, like I still would mind. I still would hate the fact that but like yeah, some people are gonna die. Like obviously this like this Israeli thing. Well, there were Israeli casualties here, so people need to be protected. So like I definitely get that Israel would put its civilians and its safety before other people, but like yeah, if it was like reasonable amount. Like most of the people getting killed aren't just innocent people. Like an overwhelming majority of them. Like then I have less of a problem with it.
all right. So I asked how how much how much retaliation, well, I guess retaliation is a bad word. How much uh I guess damage control would you be okay with Israel running before you would say it's too far in terms of destruction and civilian casualty count?
I'm not sure. I think like anything above 20%, I would put in a gray area. Anything
What,
above
20%
thirty
of the
percent is
population?
yeah, like 20% civilian casualties. Like above 30%, it's like no, that's starting to go way too far. But like if you like I don't know, every life is very valuable. So you like remember we didn't kill Osama bin Laden when we had a chance to, and I stand by that because there were a lot of other people in the building. Now he was a high profile terrorist, so we had every reason to want to kill him more than anyone else. But we realized the humanity of the situation. Look, there are so many innocent people, and if you're gonna kill like a lot of people have that saying, look, I'd rather have an like a guilty man go free than an innocent man go behind bars. Like that's also a pretty decent way to put it. Like what the fuck was I saying to that? Yeah, I think civilian casualty. If you have like a say a 1-to-1, that's obviously too far. Like just like anybody would agree. But like yeah, if we would rather have a guilty man go. Like somebody who's guilty of a crime, let them go free rather than have an innocent person go to jail. Like I think if you apply that logic, you can definitely say a 50% civilian casualty. That's definitely way too far because you're killing like more than one innocent per like person who needs to be killed getting killed, and it's like for all the people you kill who are terrorists, is it like oh they were going to take out more than one more human life in their lifetimes? Is it really a greater good? And can you really justify that when you could probably have better tactics, like going in yourselves, like, oh well the shit might be and I don't know, to be fair, I can't speak on those details again, but like I'm sure they have some better way to like 50% civilian casualty even having that, it's like no way they can't do better, but they're even way above that. So I like
Wait, so when you say 20, 30, 50% civilian casualty, you mean like in reference to the rest of the Gazan population?
no, I mean in reference to like the civilian casualties versus the actual terrorists killed. If you kill like a ratio of 20% civilian
Oh,
casualties um to what's it called, to actual terrorists that like you were trying to kill the terrorists, you accurately kill the terrorists. If your ratio to like civilian casualties to accurate hit on terrorists is more than 50%, that's like an obvious toss out. No, that's unacceptable beyond any reasonable doubt. For the same reason that you'd rather have an innocent man or a guilty man let go free than an innocent man put in jail for a crime they didn't commit. Like that's just an obvious thing that would translate to the 50% mark. And I think that's why like it needs to be way lower than 50%. Like, if this is really something that needs to be done, like yeah, wiping out Hamas, we can't just now retaliate. But like, how far are we willing to go? We can't go with 50%. That's obviously like way more than unreasonable. I think 20%, if like 20% of the people we kill in Gaza are civilians versus terrorists, the like there is some gray area. If it's like 10%, oh, we could definitely have a discussion. You're not like you're trying your best to avoid civilians. Okay, like this is like I still have a problem with that 10% because that 10% isn't zero, but it can't be zero. We're talking practical, but yeah, I think when it comes to the numbers that it's at right here, that's just insane and no way to justify it in my eyes.
mm, okay. So in the death toll, you said was 50% civilians killed compared to amount of Hamas members killed.
Yeah.
Uh, is that excluding amount of Hamas members captured?
Oh yeah, captured, that's got nothing to do with it. I'm talking about people killed. Like you don't capture someone in a bomb. Like when you set off a bomb. Yeah, we're talking casualties, like people who died. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because okay, so let's see. So I would argue that you said that it's better to what'd you say for a innocent sorry you shouldn't jail an innocent person and or
Yeah, like
it's better to let a
yeah, most people would agree that it's more moral if you had to choose between letting a guilty man, like somebody who's guilty of a crime, like you put any crime, like that's two same crimes. Like you'd rather have a guilty man go free, even if they committed the crime, they walk free, rather than having an innocent person be jailed for that same crime except they didn't commit it. Most people would agree with that principle and under that thing. Like imagine like someone deserves the death penalty. They need to be killed. They should be killed. They are terrorists. But then there's a civilian, and it's like you'd rather have the terrorist live, but the civilian live too, than have both of them die because human lives are valuable. And unless that
right.
terrorist was gonna kill like just an insane amount of people afterwards, like if then you like yeah you're saving a life, but like still you're killing people and that's unacceptable.
So,
Anyway,
so here are all the. So you have to also remember that Israel has that Hamas has like a bunch of hostages, and like a lot of the bombings is to pressure them into letting them go because
yeah,
um, so with the better to let the better not to jail the innocent man. So if we kill Hamas like here and now, basically we appoint new leaders for the Palestinian people. So they get better humanitarian conditions, and hopefully we can strive toward a peace with different leadership. Um, the Hamas, like, since their goal is literally to kill Jews, there won't be any more like terror attacks from them in the future. Because if they live, they definitely they definitely are going to come back and try and attack Israel again at some point.
Yeah.
And then we get all the hostages back if we kill Hamas. And then, like, since Hezbollah and Iran and all these other surrounding countries might get involved, like if it's an all-out war, then that's a whole bunch of casualties.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know,
and
like
that can be
how
prevented if
many
we kill Hamas.
hostages? Yeah, how many hostages did they save, compared to how many civilians were killing in the process of saving them? Because like I don't know how many there are. Let's say there's 50. If we're killing like 3,000 people, 5,000 people to save 50 people, I can't say that's reasonable. I get that that wouldn't be the case from a nationalist standpoint, but at least from my point of view, that's just like that's completely out of bound.
Okay, so there's 220 hostages being held by Hamas at the moment.
How many?
220.
220. Yeah. Uh
Uh, some of which are like have like aren't even Israeli, and they're from different countries too. So even from a non-nationalist
yeah.
standpoint,
Fair. No, I still think like of course you should
54 of those
want to.
hostages.
It's a gray area. Like it really is a gray area. Do you value those like hostages more than like the human life that you're taking out in terms of innocence? I don't know.
All right,
It
let me
really is
ask
a
you
gray
this.
area.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Someone, so let's say you have children, right? And then someone
Yeah. To be
comes to you.
fair. Yeah, to be fair, things would change a lot in my states if like my mother was captured. I would get all the people who captured her. I would find out where she was captured, but I wouldn't kill any civilians in the process if I could avoid it. But yeah, I
If
would.
you could avoid it, what if you can't avoid it?
Yeah,
What
again,
if in
like,
order to save her, you need to kill civilians?
oh yeah, and like I would be a horrible person. I would kill fucking 10 people if I needed to kill 10 people to save my mother because I'm a fucking psycho, I guess. But like
That
but I
doesn't
would
make you
not
a
kill more.
psycho.
Yeah, but I
That
would
doesn't make you.
yeah, but I would not kill fucking more if I could avoid it. And I feel like Israel could avoid like fucking 95% apparently now. Like let's stick to
Here's
60, 80. It's still insane.
here's the thing. If someone can like offer me a better way for Israel to achieve what it's trying to accomplish, I will and prove that it would have been a better way. So like you could have accomplished the same. You could have killed all these Hamas members here without all these civilians dying here. And like uh, I will concede that what Israel did was then unjustified. But the thing is, no one who's pro-Palestine wants to propose a better way that Israel could achieve what it's trying to achieve. So therefore, I don't think what they're doing is unjustified. Only if they could provide a better solution to what they're
Yeah.
doing, or if they, or if there was some sort of mismanagement that led to the needless deaths of a significant amount of Gazans,
Yeah.
then I would say, yeah, what Israel
Yeah.
did
And
there
I
was
Yeah, and
unjustified.
I also think there's also some blame to put on
No one's doing that.
Netanyahu. Would you agree there's some blame to be put on Netanyahu because he got a signal from Egypt that this attack was going to happen and he pretty much ignored it.
Actually, what happened is that the Israeli intelligence that received this warning actually decided that it probably wasn't important enough to tell
Yeah, I was
Netanyahu
kind
about.
of guessing that might be the case, but I don't know. I just feel like Israeli civilian. Well, maybe he. Yeah, I don't know, but like either way, dude, it was nice talking to you, but I have to go to fucking bed.
Okay,
It's
all right, good
too.
night.
Yeah, I
All
have
right,
to wake up in 4 hours. Well, good night, and this was an epic fucking discussion. Like,
all right.
I will see ya. Good epic. So that was the debate. I'm like in the corner of my screen right here. Well, damn, that was actually pretty good. Just pretty good, dude.